The raving years of WRC gave birth to a breed of all-wheel drive champions that paved the foundation of tuning and car culture for the 90s kids. Between dirt trials and Japanese manga influences, these cars began to replace front-page magazine covers and bedroom posters for the enthusiasts of my generation.
Personally, I've always preferred an Impreza WRX over any other cars, and that's because when I was younger I used to play the game V-Rally and I always end up choosing a 555 livery Impreza over any other cars in the game to rack up a dirt trial. So I find myself in all odds today because I'm here with this, a GC8 Type R, right here at Bukit Putus where they used to do rally special stages. So I'm quite interested to relive that little part of me from way back when. This should be an interesting one. WRX stands for World Rally Experimental, and the reason is, of course, when Subaru launched this car back in 1992, there were a lot of rally-derived upgrades from factory, like for example, that turbocharged engine, stiffer suspensions, viscous coupling, center and rear differential, and of course, Subaru's infamous symmetrical all-wheel drive system that quickly made this thing a fast performance car in the real world. That of course gained a lot of the attention from driving enthusiasts, which quickly made this thing a thoroughbred. This version that we're in sadly isn't a 22B, but this is still a limited going car. As you can see, I'm sitting inside this car with blue seats, which indicates one thing. This is the version 6 limited iteration with only 1,000 units ever made. Though, of course, if you dive deep into the bowels of the internet, you'll find that actually Subaru only made around 500 or so units of this thing. But what matters with a car like this is the way it drives. By today's standards, sure, 270 horsepower doesn't seem a lot, but just imagine this in the 90s. Did you know that in period, a 911 had around the same power as this thing? So you can imagine just how crazy people were thinking about a car such as this. Just a small 2-liter performance car that had the same power as a Porsche 911. That's serious performance. You see, the steering is sharp. You sit pretty low down. I quite like the driving position, but what I adore most about the WRX STI is always that all-wheel drive system. Doesn't matter if you're driving a new WRX STI or even an old generation one like this. There is always that intuitive response from the steering to the way the all-wheel drive system reacts, especially in a mid-corner like this. It wants to turn on the rear, and because of that, the car feels very communicative from the driver's perspective, which I, as a driver, truly enjoy, especially in a car like this. It's light, it weighs less than 1,300 kilos, the steering is sharp. It's hard for you to ignore the fact that, especially when you're on a tight little B road like this, to not imagine you're Colin McRae on a rally special stage. Just listen to that boxer rumble, especially when you're around that mid-range. The gearing is sweet. From second to third, it feels pretty short. So it's perfect for a B-road attack like this. And although this car was actually born in WRC, it has translated to be such a monster on the road. It's a different experience, and this is definitely something to enjoy. I love this thing. I completely adore the way this thing drives.
The Impreza GC8 is to me a real 90s hero. It isn't extravagant looking, so unassuming in fact. It's got a different kind of character with that engine, and if you're a guy who enjoys driving, then behind the wheel this may offer one of the closest driving interpretation of what a JDM bred 90s driver's car should feel like. It's properly quick, understated, and an all-round fun car to enjoy. I don't think there's another WRC bred car that can offer the same feeling from behind the wheel.
Now everybody knows if you want something fast, you get yourself a Mitsubishi Evo. But if you want something that could end up in Concorde Elegance one day, possibly, you get yourself an Evo 6.5 Tommy Mäkinen edition. While Subaru may have won a lot more on special rally stages, the Evo is definitely the winner in people's hearts, on the streets, on the track, and even in places like this, in the hills. And it's not like people in Malaysia drive on gravel anyway, so why should you care about the Subaru when the Evo is proven to be faster everywhere else? You know how the internet went wild when Toyota said they'll be putting the GR Yaris into production? Well, this is exactly what a GR Yaris is, except this was 20 years ago. Do you see the resemblance here? Tommy was involved with both of these cars. The man knows how to balance pure and raw, making it refined for the public. I'm really digging this Evo right now because by modern standards, this isn't that fast. But in places like this, it really comes to life. And the car begs you to give it more and more. Even when it understeers, you just give it a bit more throttle and it goes out the corners. Now, I'm not saying that the Subaru isn't a good car, but there's something about the Evo that has a bit of a Malaysian familiarity with it. Something that's a bit close to home. Turbocharged 2-litre 4G63 with a titanium turbine turbocharger, tarmac suspension and a free-flowing muffler, 5-speed manual, supposedly 280 horsepower and 373 Nm of torque. Well, this car has more than that, but what's not to love because this is an absolute legend of a car. Mitsubishi built 2,500 units of the TME to commemorate Mäkinen's 4 World Rally Championship titles, an amazing feat mind you. While most people may look at it as a silly car with a large rear wing, the Evo was in fact technological at the time with something called Active Yaw Control or AYC, something my colleague would rather not understand. Hello!
Hi, what are you doing here?
So this is the Putra WRC Pro Drive, is it?
Idiot. No, I know you know that this thing is just as good as that thing.
This is good. This is better. It's an Evo, it's a TME.
It's not my cup of tea, I mean...
Look, there's a guy's name on it. Clearly it's better.
They're just showing off. There's just some showing off right there.
What is this? What is this? This is some 90s. What is this?
That's period correct, okay? Everything on this car is period correct. It's all and everything that you need about WRC. Just even in the name, it's World Rally Experimental. That's what it is.
That's why it's an experiment. It didn't work. This did.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Come on.
What?
Look, he didn't win as many as all the drivers on that car did. Come on. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but nobody bought this.
Yeah, but
What?
you know, these are bought by boys. That's bought by proper men who are car enthusiasts who enjoy driving. These are just people who love boosting.
So how many of this on the road? How many?
Well, on paper there's 1,000.
On paper?
But on paper there's 1,000, but
Okay.
Subaru only made around 500-ish.
So clearly nobody bought one.
Yeah, but there's plenty of these, but for some reason people are paying $500,000 for it for what is essentially a without what kit.
Clearly it's more valuable. That is better.
But by putting somebody's name, you're paying so much money for it.
What's this then? It doesn't even say Subaru.
Look,
that's not even a badge.
Look, this thing works, okay? Let me just show you how rally driving. It's got a roof scoop. This thing is purposeful in every way it needs to be. This thing opens. For whatever reason, it didn't open right. But this thing opens up. It brings air. If you're in the cockpit with a helmet, it brings air into the cabin.
Do you know why that opens?
Of course.
No, it's for people who vape. People who vape drive Subarus. What are you talking about?
Being absolutely nonsense about this. Well, okay,
How
I have
many
to
people
admit,
that you know who own Subarus that vape?
most of them, yes, it's true. Yeah, I can't deny that. But come on, really though?
Perfection.
I know people rave on so much about this, but essentially what it is just a Mitsubishi. It's just like any other car. It's got an engine from God knows when.
It's a proven engine. You have to change. You have to bring down the engine to change the spark plugs.
This has character. A boxer engine is character.
Yes.
Okay, this is just a standard inline. For sure, it's got the same power, but there's no power band at all from anything under 4,000 RPM in this. This has good response. Top mount intercooler.
No, this just make sure you're safe and
Okay,
sound.
you know what? This and that has not much difference.
That sounds like a Subaru.
Yeah, but it's got the same color as your car as well. You're in the wrong color. You should be in the right.
We're both
I'm in the
blue.
right color, in the right set of wheels.
With two
You're
less
in the wrong
doors.
colour. What?
With two less doors. Is this a 2B?
Hey,
Is
no.
this $1 million?
It's okay, but this is also sought after. This is the Type R, limited. This is the last of the last. It's got the blue interior.
The only Type R that people care about is a Honda, not a Subaru. Don't you own a Honda? Where is it, by the way?
Okay, look, let's stop bickering about. Let's put this on paper. 2 litre, 280 horsepower there about,
Sure, why not?
right? What's the weight of this thing?
1,003-ish?
Really? This is 1,270 kilos.
100 kilos doesn't mean anything.
That means a lot in WRC. That means a lot in racing.
No,
and it's translated in all the wins that is put out on this car.
When it's too light, it flies. This stays on the ground.
I don't like the all-wheel drive system on the Mitsubishi. I've never liked it. This is proper.
This has AYC.
Yeah, but
Active yaw control.
yeah, how many times have you used that thing today?
Yes.
Exactly, my point exactly. This is too complicated. This is simple on the get-go from factory. It's everything that you could possibly need from a driver's car. This is the definition of what the 90s was.
You said this is a boys racer car.
It is.
Look at how big your wing is.
Look,
you
look
can
at
literally eat on it.
Daniel, look at this. What the hell is this? What is this for? This is some piece of plastic.
So you see how dirty it is, and you see how the rims are not dirty. It's like
That's why. Because just Subaru people are not lazy like Mitsubishi drivers. They're just lazy to clean their
Yeah,
white
because
wheels.
we use our cars. See, the TME is so good. They call it a 6.5. It's like a model by itself.
No, it's just halfway, man.
It's a
It's
model by
halfway.
itself.
It's neither 6 nor 7. It's just halfway. It's just like, okay,
What is this?
we've made the 6, but oh, you know what? We could actually make it a bit more perfect. So
What?
we call it the 6.5 because actually we f***ed up on the 6. Or we screwed up the 6. Maybe that's why.
What is this then? They made 6 versions of the same car that no one can tell the difference. And
You can't tell the differences from the front bumper.
how can you tell the difference?
Yeah.
What is that?
This.
There's a screw.
This is very important right here because you don't always need it. You're not always rallying like yours. Look at yours, it's open. Here, there's a cover. If you go on the gravel special stage, you won't break the damn thing.
What does STI stand for? Sexually transmitted infection?
Oh, it's Subaru Technica International. Can't you read? See, Mitsubishi drivers can't read. It's even written there. Okay, let's stop bickering about. I have a plan.
What?
Why don't we take these things to the track?
Sure.
Are you up for it?
Sure. Okay,
And we'll see how it goes.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Race you to the track.
Okay, let's see who gets there first.
These two cars, they're very similar yet very different from one another. The engine, the chassis, the steering feel and the all-wheel drive system are all very different. But both on paper and in the real world, they deliver the same kind of performance and driving enjoyment cooked up using very different recipes. Both are proven on the rally stage and both have won many hearts of car enthusiasts in different ways. Choosing between them would be very hard. So it all boils down to preference. Are you a Three Diamond or a Boxer fan? Do you prefer Mackinnon or McRae? Either way, you're going to have a ball of a time owning, driving and enjoying them.